Well, hi guys, it's Bob again from Graveyard Models, and it's been a busy old few days, and I just thought I'd like to show you this new thing, this new addition to the stash. And this is the other Gecko ambulance, the early war British Army 4x2 heavy ambulance in 1/35 scale. Obviously this is based similarly to the not early one, but the earlier kit that came out. This is the early version. This is slightly different to the other kit that came out, and well, let's go through the box again and try and get rid of some of this glare if I can, but it just means that there isn't a lot of light because the sun's gone in, so it's a bit darker than it was earlier today. So my apologies for the glare. Let me just put one of my little blocks under there, and yeah, as it says, early war British Army 4x2 heavy ambulance 1/35 scale. Usual cautions here about being aimed at over 14s, and includes photo etch parts, decals, and also has a driver figure, which is cool. So let's have a look at the sides of the box. Well, this side straight away has a picture of the photo etch, the decals, not sure if I'll use those, I might spray again, and the driver figure, which is really cool. So there, it's a shame they didn't bring this out with the other one, but this guy's wearing pretty heavy stuff, so it's not exactly 8th Army stuff, but might do for a desert scene. End of the box as per normal, has the part number. It's their kit number 35GM0068, and description: early war British Army 4x2 heavy ambulance, and a picture again. This side has some more sort of CAD renditions of the build. Not sure which one I'm going to build on this one, but we'll have a look. Right, let's get the lid off the box, get onto the grain mat, and we'll have a look. So as with all Gecko kits, comes with a nice coloured lid, and then you get the nice sort of solid, really good solid box. Absolutely great solid boxes. I've got this particular kit from a company over here in the UK, a company called E-Models. Really good kit company, and yeah, quite pleased with that. Again, it's another one that I had on pre-order, and parts come in the usual fashion, horrible crinkly plastic bags. So I'll get these out and we'll have a look at the parts again. Okay, and I'll be back with you in a second. So this kit is very much the same as the previous kits, as the previous ambulance. Very similar sprues. In fact, I would say they're pretty much identical. This is sprue BA, and there's the wall between the cab and the rear of the ambulance, the floor of the cab, bit of the firewall. This is the piece that goes over the top of the cab front, I think, if I remember rightly. I'm trying to remember what all these things were. And the various parts, storage boxes for inside the rear of the ambulance, base of the passenger seat there, and again, with everything that I've had so far from Gecko, really good moulding, no flash to speak of. I haven't seen anything on here, so that's another one that should build up into quite a nice kit. This is different. This is a different part. Let me just move that out of the way. So this is this to my mind looks like the air intakes on the top of the ambulance, on the roof. The early ambulances of this type had a round rotating air intake for ventilating the rear of the cab, rear of the ambulance, and as opposed to the other version which had a square vent on the top. That's those. So there's some more boxes. Again, really nice detail. No sort of flash to talk of. Ejector pin marks are in hidden places. They do really well with their ejector pin marks, but again, nice crisp mouldings, really good. Really good. Oh, that's better. Get the light back on it. Really good mouldings. They're really good kits, actually, the Gecko kits, from my experience of them now. Oh, there's a shame. There's a shame. That part there is broken. But that should line up, and use a bit of extra thin. That will line up, and glue in place. That won't be a problem. I forget what this part is. It's not one of the drives. I think this is one of the rails for the stretchers in the rear of the ambulance. But that can be repaired. And this is the second of that sprue. Again, as you can see, that's fine. Yeah, really nice mouldings. These are the back sort of rests in the rear of the ambulance, along the side of the inside wall. I believe they're either that or the mattress things that they've provided. This sprue will look familiar. This is pretty much exactly the same as the truck version and of the earlier ambulance as well. You know, it looks really cool, really good mouldings, spot on. Can't fault it at all. And again, this is another sprue that we've had before with the truck version and with the earlier ambulance. Again, with the engine blocks, the radiator, the differential, suspension units, all of that sort of parts, and obviously the straight rails of the chassis. Couldn't work out why there was two different ones in the truck, but anyway, there you go. So here we go, have the sides of the body, the rear body, and the door between the rear of the ambulance and the cab, and that's the side panel where you've got the spare wheel stowed. Again, really nice mouldings. Can't fault the mouldings at all. And again, more parts of the body, the rear of the ambulance, the roof, the vents on the this is the inner roof, this is the outer roof, and you'll notice that there's sort of round marks there. And as with the other ambulance, there's the mounting points there and there for the square type vent. But obviously this one doesn't have the square vents, this has the round vents. And this is another sprue that was common in the truck as well. So you've got the water flimsies there, and you know, the jerry cans and that sort of thing. And then these two sprues which have the wheels and the various parts of stowage boxes, fuel tanks. What else is in there? There's the clips here that go on the chassis, and other bits and pieces there. So I've got the truck. So I've got plenty of spares for this build. And again, the tyres, wheels and tyres are made in the same way that Gecko have produced. So you've got the if you look at that, you've got the hub, and then that's the side wall of the tyres, the side walls of the inner parts of the wheel, and then the actual tread part, which is put on as well. So that's really good, really good. It's a useful way of doing it. And here we have the stretchers and various sort of padded, folded blankets and pillows for in the rear, and then you've got the sort of folded stretchers and then the flattened out stretchers. Good stash of those. And this final bag of plastic parts has got a couple of rifles, looks like a Sten gun. It's got the driver figure, which is cool, and then it's got the 2 sprues with all the kit, spare helmets and all of that. So with the truck kit and with this kit, I'm going to have loads of this British sort of equipment. And here we have the clear plastic parts, and without taking them out of the bag, I can see that they're actually moulded far better than the truck ones were. These are quite clear and really quite nice. So that's those. Got another bag here, Ziploc bag. I like the fact that they put the decals in a Ziploc bag. Helps protect them. So the photo etch, big sheet of photo etch, with the usual parts that we've seen before in an ambulance. So these are the runners on the rear of the ambulance, where you slide the stretchers in, the various stowage frames, the middle part of the jerry cans. I wonder if they solved the problem. If I remember rightly, the last ones, the jerry can, the fixing holes didn't line up, so it would be interesting to see if they fixed that. And the various straps and mounting pieces, and the grills for the radiator. All good. Have a look at the decals. Decals again, really quite nice. Quite thickly moulded though. They're quite heavy, but they went down okay, the ones that I used. Caution right hand drive. Well, okay, whatever. So again, markings for the water canisters, the various regimental markings and stuff. Interesting decal there for the roof of the cab, and the other option there, which is the sort of RAF round door on the roof, which is obviously for aerial reconnaissance. You know, they could see that it was a good vehicle. And then various options in the markings there for the different types. Really good, really cool. So we can have another look at the instructions. So I do like Gecko's instructions. So we'll get these open. I'll be back with you in a second. Just noticed the battery in my camera is going, so I'll be back in a sec. So again, really nice. Got a good picture there. It's got the sort of history of the vehicle in various languages, in German, and as I said before, I think these are Chinese, Korean and Japanese, and English, written by Simon King. Got some really interesting information on there. I'll have to check it against the other one and see if the other information, and see if it's similar. But yeah, he's written some good stuff there. Normal format. It's got a sprue call out, and then go into, well, actually before I do that, let's just highlight the fact you've got the various keys for the instructions and the sort of tools that are recommended, how to apply the decals, and instructions. These are sort of like safety instructions to read before assembly, but they're fairly straightforward. As I say, sprue call out, and then we go straight into the chassis construction. I do like this build. I like the way in which this chassis goes together. It's really nice, it's rigid. Once you get it, you know, you've got to get it square obviously, but it goes together really nicely. So you've got the whole sort of getting the basis of the chassis together there, then adding the suspension unit, or the you know, the springs as it were, and then putting in the rear diff, and the various these are the brake linkages, I believe, there, and then assembling the tyres and getting the rear tyres and rear wheels on board. Might do something different on this one. Again, as I've said before, I won't put the wheels on while, you know, while it's in this sort of loose state. I don't think it's beneficial. But again, they've updated the instructions here on the engine build with the mid bronze green. Their colour marking out is really a lot better than it was with the first ambulance kit. So again, the mid bronze green. Don't know if I've got one of those. Oh, I'll have to have a look and see if I've got one in the stash. Might need to buy some paint. And then the general sort of detailing of the engine, putting in the drive shaft, or the rear drive shaft, and then the front half of the drive shaft, and the exhaust. All really straightforward, and again showing you where the exhaust sits in terms of the general layout of the chassis, and then putting in the front axle and the supports onto the springs, and the linkages between the front hubs, and then again steering mechanism there, putting that in and putting in your hoses there, adding the front wheels, posing them. You can pose them whichever direction, right or left, and then the construction of the petrol tanks on either side. Really straightforward. I mean, it's a lovely build, it really is. So assembly here of the rear steps folded. In the other ambulance that I built of theirs, I showed how you can make this so that actually it's open and the steps are down. They show it folded, but they don't show you how to do that. So you know, you can actually pose this in the down position. Front radiator grille. Again, having looked at the shape of the radiator, you know, it is too blunt a shape. You know, it should be a little bit more of a pointier nose, as it were. Mounting the radiator behind the grille. This works really well. Although this is like the wrong shape, it does. This construction method works really well. Really pleased with the way that went together. So this is much the same. Again, they go on about adding the radiator and the front mud guards, or the wings as it were, and then the detail here, putting the driver's seat together, and then the cab floor, and then the dashboard, and the various bits of the cab, which is again interesting with the photo etch on the pedals, which is really, I think is rather strange. Nice fitting there of the fire extinguisher, so that's good. And then putting in the electrics there, you've got your fuse box and the electrics there, and then the details on the instrument panel or the dashboard there. So you've got the three, on this one you've got three sort of dials. One is the fuel capacity, The other was I think it was the ammeter, and then the other was yeah, I can't remember. And then you've got the speedo there. Yeah, so that's the ammeter, the fuel gauge, and there was something else. It'll come to me. I do have a reference book, so I'll have to look that up again. So the options on the headlamps, and then putting the base of the cab in place with this. Now, as I've said before, the best way to do this is to not have that, make that up. Don't fit this and this yet. You know, have them on sort of available, but don't fit them yet. And then when you get to build the rear of the ambulance, then dry fit all of it onto the chassis before you start permanently locating these, just to make sure you get a good fit. I found that was the best way, because the top of the radiator has to make with has this sort of V-shaped bracket arrangement that fits onto the firewall there, and all of that all has to line up. So it's best to wait until you've got these sub-assemblies ready, and then put the whole lot together, dry fit on the chassis, and then you'll get a better alignment. Again, so they're then saying, you know, about putting the hood on and the side panels. Now again, I think I mentioned this before, the side panels here, they're not fixed to the tops. They are actually a lift-off panel, and then the top is hinged. So it's not like one of those ones where the top of the bonnet hinges up and it lifts up the side sheets and they fold in. It doesn't work. It doesn't go like that. It's not how these are made. So these actually come off. So access to the engine, you can actually take the side panel off. You didn't have to lift the hood. So yeah, it's worth noting that. Again, putting all the details on your headlamps and whatnot, and you do have an option on headlamp styles as well, so that's good. Then you've got your nudge bar, the weight plate on there, and then putting the flimsies, the water cans and the jerry cans together. Oh, excuse me. Right. And then it takes you on to assembling the underside of the chassis. Again, like I said before, you know, you could probably get away with this, and then putting that onto the chassis. So the underside of the body, put that onto the chassis, then line up everything else, and you should get a really good fit. If you go straight in with the radiator, starting with the radiator and then putting it, you know, having the wings on and everything else, you risk getting everything a little bit misaligned if it's not absolutely spot on. So now going into the sort of assembly of the rear. So you've got, these are the stretchers, really good, these stretchers, they're really nice details on there. The frames for the water cans, and then they are strung underneath the rear of the body there, and then you've got starting to put the sort of cab details together there with the passenger seat and the stowage for the rifles, sorry. Yeah, interesting, this cover here, which fits in the front there, it sort of looks like it hinges up, but the block that holds the guns or the rifles is there, so you won't be able to lift that up anyway. So I think that's possibly a little bit of a mistake, but it depends how sort of nitpicky you are. If you see in this picture here, it's got access there, and it looks like you could lift that up. I don't think that's actually 100% correct. I'm sure someone out there will bring that up. So again, going on to the putting the bottom of the body in place. And this is what I was saying, put the body, have this loose and ready to line up, have the cab loose and ready to line up, have this loose but ready to line up, and the same with the radiator. So have all of that ready, and then put the whole lot together, and then see if everything lines up square, and then you can get everything to sit properly. Mud flaps, do a nice mud flaps as well in photo etch, and then the underside again. Again, putting the mud flaps in place. This is really good alignment. I found on the other ambulance it was really good alignment. So again, putting the tail together, and then the door between the cab and the rear of the ambulance, so you can have it in the open or closed position, and you can have these blinds down or raised, so you have an option there of the blinds being down or raised. And this is the same with the cab, the vents on the cab wall. Really good, really interesting. So yeah, at the seat on the rear of the door here, which is in the back of the ambulance, you can have that in the down position or up, however you want it. And then putting your spare wheel in place with photo etch brackets there to hold it and line it up. Same with the top there. Watch out for that part there. It's meant to point it out. It's this part here on this is quite a flimsy part, so be very careful. I wouldn't put that in place on there until you're ready to put this assembly together, and then with the whole bracketry for that, because it is a little bit fragile, that. So then putting the runners into place on the rear of the ambulance body. Have to be careful with the alignment of this. It's tricky. If my memory serves me right, it's quite a tricky thing to line up. So getting the runners, make the runners up, put the brackets on, and then put everything, line everything up. But it is, you know, you need to take care with that. Watch out for that, because it's quite tricky. So then it's inside the reverse, the rear, of the ambulance body. So you've got these mattress type things, and then the stretchers that sit in the runners over the top of the mattresses. This is the detail in the roof. So you've got the light fittings and the handrail things, handholds, storage boxes. Obviously you've got things here you can put storage boxes in. And you can have the boxes open, so you can put these things inside and you can see what they are. Depends really how much you want to go into detail inside the ambulance, but yeah, there is room to be able to do those details. So the roof vents, as I said, these are the round roof vents. So these are different to the other ambulance that they brought out. And then these are the runners for the top level of stretchers. So you put those in, again putting the runners in place, and putting the padding along the wall. Colours are a little bit, I thought they were not quite right, but with a bit of research you can find out your own colour schemes. Again, pillows, folded blankets, all of that sort of thing can go in place. And then these are the runners along the side of these top sort of stretcher shelves. As I say, it was one of those that was actually broken on the sprue. And again, putting your options together. They're going for option 1, which is having the stretchers in the raised position. You can have them lowered down if you wish. Then assembling the whole of the sides of the ambulance. And again here, option 2, you can have the stretchers in the raised position like here, or in the lowered position like here. So moving on finally to nearly towards the end of the cab build, you've got the details there. You can have the doors closed or open, and then the windscreen here. This option here, you can open the front of that windscreen, and then your tools and stuff in the roof of the cab. Finally putting all of the roof and all of that together, and again you have the options of having it closed or open, and then add in your rear view mirror, both one on each side, and your rear doors, so you can have them with the vents open or closed here, and you can have your doors either open or closed, whichever option you wish. And then just showing you how to do the rolled up stretchers and putting the feet on. I found those were quite tricky because they're very tiny, and you know, got to get them to glue and fit and all the rest of it, and they can be a little bit tricky, but then you end up with the finished vehicle. So options. So, unknown motor ambulance convoy, BEF, France, 1940, oval khaki green, rear interior in mid stone. Might be right. I'm not convinced. Motor convoy, Tunisia, April 1943. Interesting that they give you this colour scheme. Did I see a corn? Oh yeah, it is there. For 1943, so this is a later option with the overall one colour scheme. They're saying light sand, cab interior in body colour, rear interior mid stone. Okay. And again with another vehicle from the same convoy, with different reference numbers, surely, although that's the same. Vehicle number appears to be the same. So option 2A and option 2B. 2B or not 2B? Slightly different. Right, okay, so it's different. Right, so you've got a different marking there. No hand signals. Different marking there, no hand signals, and the camel marking is there. And on this one, the camel marking's over here. So, yeah, slightly different. And then you've got the Cornter colour scheme. If you see my my video about the truck, I'm going to do the truck in the Cornter scheme. This is Northumbrian Field Ambulance, RAMC, Royal Army Medical Corps, 50th Northumbrian Infantry Division, 1942. If I remember rightly, this colour scheme was abandoned in late 41, and so if you're doing it in 1942, this is going to be a right old beaten up old colour scheme. Might be interesting. We shall see. Although it's got that on the roof of the cab, and I rather quite fancy putting the sort of RF roundel on the roof. And then this one, which is a nice one, this is Sicily in 1943. I've not seen this colour scheme before, so this is interesting. Massive, great big white panels and red crosses on the side, the rear, white roofs, and yeah, big white coloured and red. Interesting colour scheme that. Oval painted in light mud, cab interior in the body colour and rear interior in mid stone. Light mud. What the hell is light mud? Oh well, we can have a look and find out. Do some research. And then finally on the rear, details on the guns, sorry, rifles. People out there who've been in the army are going to shoot me, no pun intended, when I call these guns, when in fact they're not. They're rifles. That's a Sterling submachine gun, isn't it? And then you have your driver figure there with an option D3 or D6. So I think the different D3 is the cap, the forage cap, and D6 is the a different head without a cap, if I remember rightly. I didn't open the bag. Should have opened it, shouldn't I? Let's see what that option is with the driver's head. Oh, I see. So you got two driver's heads, one with the beret and one with the sort of forage cap type thing going on. Interesting. Nice driver figure. Wish I'd had that before. Anyway, and that's the colour scheme there. Right, so that's the Gecko kit. In terms of the build, I'd say yeah, go for it. Really interesting kit. Really interesting options there, and should go together lovely. So anyway, I hope that is useful to you if you're considering buying this kit, and I hope, you know, whatever you decide to do to build, you have fun with it. I found building the other ambulance really quite straightforward. One or two little hiccups, little questions, but apart from that, it sort of went together really well. So I hope you find that useful. If you did and you stuck all the way through this, thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video, which will be a continuation of the truck build. Take it easy out there, and if you're in the UK, stay warm. It's been bloody cold. Anyway, bye for now.